Just like magic, we're back. Good evening, dear friends. How are you? So happy to be with you and so happy you could join us here on this magnificent Friday evening. My name is Nicholas Viselli. I am the artistic director of Theater Breaking Through Barriers. And yeah, we're coming to you live once again from right here in the heart of the Thunderdome, right in glorious Midtown Manhattan. And on behalf of all of our artists, I would like to cordially welcome each and every one of you to Theater Breaking Through Barriers, 6th Virtual Playmakers Intensive, or VPI 6 Star Changers. I'm always in awe of the fact that the work that we generate to create this this little intensive that we're sharing with you. There's so much to it, and there's so many moving parts within this process in creating this work. So there's always these little chances that things can go wrong. Obviously, there's little glitches sometimes with our transmissions each night. That's knock wood. It's been going fairly well so far. But what I'm really in awe of is the fact that in spite of all of this, the work is so good, and the way people come together to collaborate is very inspiring, especially when we live in a time when things aren't always so inspiring in terms of what we watch on the news and what we're seeing around us, and just seeing how people are reacting together. So when artists can come together to create and generate something really, really special in a very short period of time, that is to be celebrated. So for you to be coming and joining us, this is a celebration. We've had a really wonderful 7 other performances so far. Tonight is our 8th performance. And we have another week to go, you guys. So the fun continues. We have the perfect piece to begin our weekend with. It's a wonderful play by the brilliant Ella Mock. This is the first time we're working with Ella during this intensive. You've had an opportunity to see their directing chops earlier this week when Ella directed Stuart Green's play, The Contraltos, on Tuesday. So tonight, you are getting now to see what a great writer we have. And Ella wrote this wonderful play called Farthest Reach. So I'm sure you will enjoy this. If you saw it an hour ago, welcome back for a second helping. We have a wonderful, brilliant, amazing director who I thank the gods for every time, because this is, I think, Tamar's third time that we've worked together. But I'm just in awe of her. So Tamar Kummel directed this piece, and of course, the stellar cast, the great artists, Pamela Sabaugh, Jack Sims. They've worked together before in other pieces, but not like this, not like what you're about to see, and also to the relationships that they have. There's the chemistry, and then it's a wonderful two-hander for them both. So I'm not going to say any more, folks. I just want you to enjoy it. Before we begin, I ask the artists to do a brief audio description of themselves for the benefit of anyone who is tuned in and cannot see us, so that you'll be able to get a good idea of as a good setup for you. So my dear artists, would you please share your descriptions?
Hello, I'm Pamela Sabaugh, and I am playing Geneva. I'm in my fabulous apartment, feeling glamorous in my black silk kimono with colorful embroidered flowers. I'm wearing crystals, my nails and lips are red, and I am drinking my hibiscus matcha smoothie from a martini glass.
Hi, I'm Jack Sims. I play Jim Paris. I have a white beard. I'm wearing a black sweater. I have on glasses. I'm in my office. Behind me is my idea board, which is covered with index cards. And I'm drinking something.
How's that for a setup, folks? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please sit back, relax, and enjoy Ella Mock's Farthest Reach.
Geneva appears on screen in a Zoom meeting waiting for Jim to join. When Jim joins, camera is off. He's speaking to someone else. Jim does not know that she is on the call.
Because, Amir, the tagline isn't, do you believe in life after love? It's, do you believe in life after bugs? So Cher had zero grounds to come after us. Because replacing the one word changes the entire song. No, I already dealt with Elton John's team with Can You Feel the Bugs Tonight, and they had nothing. Because, Amir, the song isn't about the bugs. All right, then. Look, I gotta go. I'm waiting on our Afra to join this soon. Oh, crap. What's her name? She was on that soap, Roses and Thorns. Yeah, the stepmother. No, the other one. Geneva, right. Yeah, we'll see. I've set up 6 meetings with her, all no-shows. Well, because we need a big name. Yeah, okay. A medium name. We need her.
Jim's camera comes on.
Yeah, you know what they say.
Jim sees Geneva for the first time.
Oh crap. Look, Amir, I gotta go. I'll call you back. Yeah. Okay. I really have to go. Okay. Hello. Hi. I didn't see you.
Clearly.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. That was my marketing guy. We're doing a revival tour of the director's cut of Babes from Bug Planet.
How exciting.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so good to meet you, Geneva, Miss Cardiff. I'm Jim Paris. Thank you so much for taking taking time for this meeting. Did you get my fruit basket?
I'm allergic to strawberries. Let's get started.
All right then.
And it was
So-
7.
I'm sorry.
I was forced to postpone 7 times, not 6. First, Geneviève got into my macarons. Then it was Mercury retrograde. Then I had to leave the country while they renovated the downstairs bath. All that granite dust was simply dreadful. The 4th time was another macaron incident, this time with Tiber. And then, would you believe, your girl rescheduled us for the week of my Hanniversary.
Your anniversary.
No, dear, Hanniversary, my annual silent retreat at the Hanamaui Resort.
Oh, well, yeah, probably not the best time for a meeting.
And then we were at attempt number 6. And as you must know, 6 is a terribly inauspicious number for business. I had to accept and then postpone in order to reach 7.
So what happened with meeting number 7?
Geneviève again. Eclairs.
And here we are at 8. Better 8 than too late.
8 is the number of balance and opportunity, ruled by Saturn, I believe.
And speaking of opportunity, I believe I have a fantastic one for you. Have you gotten a chance to read the script?
I had Larry give me the rundown.
Larry, I thought Kendra was your agent.
That's correct. Larry is my dog walker.
Dog walker. Okay. Listen, I don't mean to be rude,
Then don't be.
but I'm not sure your dog walker is going to give you the most nuanced read.
Have you ever walked 2 Afghan hounds, a blue Dalmatita, and a miniature chow doodle at once? Nuance is key.
Gotcha.
Plus, he went to Yale for playwriting.
Well, did you or Larry have any questions?
Yes, a few.
Well, let me have it.
Geneva takes out her script, completely covered in Post-it notes.
Page 1. Exterior, Plutopolis skyline, night.
Yep.
Plutopolis is
The largest city settlement on Pluto.
Pluto.
Yep.
Why Pluto?
Right. Great question. So, over the past few years, the bigwigs have had a hell of a time classifying Pluto, right? It's a planet, then it's not a planet, back and forth, back and forth. And as this is happening, the middle class is disappearing, and the bipartisan divide is widening, and the oceans are rising, literally widening the gaps between continents. There's less and less ideological nuance. But you know what they did with Pluto? They came up with these new words, trans-Neptunian object, Kuiper belt object, etc. We stopped worrying about planet or not planet because we understood it was something else altogether. Pluto is fertile ground because its entire existence is nuance. It wouldn't fit neatly into box 1 or box 2, so we made new boxes, new opportunities. And now here's this icy, unforgiving rock, Pluto. And ironically, that's our best bet once this planet goes up in flames.
I don't like Plutopolis. What about Plutotania, or Pluton, or Nashville?
Sure, I'll take those into consideration.
Jim rips an index card off the wall behind him.
Do. Next note, page 1.
Didn't we just look at page 1?
This says, we see Aphra Cristantha, Lady of House Neroli, First Ruby of the Crown, Pontiff of the Five Moons, Grand Thane of Plutopolis, or perhaps Plutoria. She gazes out at the city from her balcony, her sharp profile in stark contrast to the artificial night sky of the Citadel.
Yes.
Profile.
Yes.
To stand in profile is to deny the audience the bounty of your energy, your beauty, and your attention. My mentor Dick Cabot used to say that, God rest his soul. I'm already working hard enough to reach the audience through the camera. How can I possibly do that when I'm not even looking them in the eyes?
Gotcha. Yeah, we really aren't decided on shots at this point in the process, so there's flexibility there. What's next?
Page 1 near the bottom. My line is, the Ruby Syndicate arrives at dawn.
Yep.
I did a Google and found that a day on Pluto is approximately 6.5 days. Is dawn in reference to a 24-hour period or a Pluto solar cycle?
Does that matter?
Clarity of stakes always matters.
Alrighty then. I'll see if I can squeeze that in somewhere.
Now moving on to page 2.
We're already done with page 1?
Silly me, you're quite right. At the bottom of page 1, it says her ceremonial robe is burgundy. A carmine would be far better suited to my complexion.
That's a color?
Now on to page 2. Who are you thinking for the carnelian treasurer? I'd like a screen test to make sure there's chemistry.
Well, he's only got 3 lines. Is that really necessary?
True, but those 3 lines carry oodles of subtext. My lady, if the crops yield as projected, there will be no need to raise tariffs on Nix this cycle. It may as well be pillow talk. There's clearly a history there.
That's an interesting read. It wasn't my intention, but if you feel it's worth exploring.
I do. Now, if you'll skip forward to page 5, a Mr. Pim Dramgule says, quote, "Ever since the Brigadier Order was dissolved by your command, my crew has brought peace to the Commonwealth. My question is, how?
How what?
How does Pim's crew bring peace? Do they defend the community from attacks, settle interpersonal disputes, provide material aid or health provisions?"
Yes, of course. All of that. It's a metaphor about abolishing the police.
Obviously. I'm not asking what it's about. I'm asking how they function. Where do their resources come from? How do their methods differ from the Brigadier?
Well, it's a complex system where the pontificate, let me think on that. Get back to you.
Fine. Page 6.
Miss Cardiff, can I interrupt you for a second?
You just did.
Maybe you're used to this, telling me all the reasons my movie sucks, and I go back and make all the changes necessary to get you to say yes. And I get it. You're a big deal. I'm supposed to be falling over myself courting you, but I'm sorry. But are you in?
Am I in what?
Look, I know it's blunt, but do you want to be in my movie?
I don't do courtesy calls. I wouldn't be here if I didn't believe I had something to offer your film.
Well, how about we trade places for a bit?
I'm sorry.
It's my turn to grill you. Why are you interested in this role?
I am interested in this role because it is an interesting role.
Is that all?
What else do you want?
Okay, let's do a little acting, yeah? I'm I don't know, Conan, and you're on my show promoting the movie. It's coming out this weekend. Good? Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Tonight I have Geneva Cardiff, star of stage and soap, talking about her new movie, Farthest Reach. So, Geneva, this role is quite a departure from your usual stuff. Why Afra? What pulled you in?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Conan. You're looking so good. Did you do something with your hair? Well, Afra is just such a singular woman. I felt drawn to her immediately. Lately, all the roles I've been getting are mothers and witches. They don't tell you that you age out of the Madonna horror complex and then it's all mothers and witches. And Afra, she's not a mother in a traditional sense, but she's a leader and a caretaker and a guide. And she's not a witch in a traditional sense, but she's powerful and mysterious and complex. She refused to fit neatly into box 1 or box 2. And she's an opportunity for women everywhere to reinvent their boxes or demolish them altogether.
That sounds a lot like what writer and director Jim Paris shared with us before the break.
Yes, Jim really made space for me to come in with my own ideas and influence the mythos of the world.
Oh, yes, that's so generous of him.
We joke, that I should technically be listed as a co-writer and director. It was so good of Jimmy to let me try my hand at a few scenes.
All right, that's
And, well, maybe I shouldn't say, but there is a sequel in the works.
okay. Enough. There seems to have been a miscommunication. I reached out because I thought you would be a good fit for the role, but I feel like you're just toying with me now. Maybe you think I need you or I'm desperate, but I'm not.
You need a household name so that a new audience of women may imagine themselves in my gravity boots while dashing younger men hand feed me space grapes.
I don't want to brag,
Feel free.
but I have been making movies for a long time, and I've got a well-established, devoted fan base. I have a formula. It's always worked for me, and it doesn't have to include you. Now, I don't know who's giving you these ideas.
My Pilates instructor, Toshi, minored in market analytics. They wrote up a little brief when I mentioned we were meeting.
My work is an integral part of the modern space opera canon. People are excited to get bit parts. Peter Mayhew wanted a cameo. They're cult classics.
But they're only cult classics if you retain your cult. I've read the articles, Jim. They're denouncing you in droves.
That's just some internet drama that doesn't affect.
You managed to avoid talking politics publicly for most of your career, which appealed to the whole everything is so PC nowadays crowd. But with one little tweet, this platoon of alternative right man babies reveals itself as a large portion of your fan base.
I talk about politics in my films all the time. My most prosperous systems have universal health care and basic income. The entire Ice Rings of Saturn trilogy is a pro-refugee parable. Planet of Light. An entire civilization free of gender roles. Everybody's gay in Heart of Andromeda. Racism, sexism, ableism, classism, you name it. We address it. I have always made my views very clear.
And yet, people seemed very upset when you started saying those views outside your films.
If we weren't in lockdown, I would have said it with a movie. It wasn't a big deal.
Oh, there were letters to conventions asking to bar you from presenting, a couple op-eds, videos of so-called fans burning merchandise. I think quite a few people would describe it as a big deal.
I think we have to challenge our audiences. I think it's our duty to subvert their expectations.
And you do that with what? Your formula? You can't have it both ways. Your audience will not be challenged if you do not challenge yourself.
Science fiction is about imagination. It's intrinsically challenging. The entire genre is a big what if.
Of course, but then it stops at dreaming and imagining. Lots of imagination, no concrete ideas.
Look, I'm not a politician or an activist or anything. There are people out there working on those answers because they're good at that. This is what I'm good at. Ay, this is a lot for a Friday.
Mr. Paris, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, but let me tell you about something at which I am very good. When you are acting, you are tethered at all times to your objective. You identify what you want, and you make every line, every action in service of that desire. Every tactic is an active verb that propels you forward, and our perpetual motion is what keeps butts in seats, sitting in the dark for 2.5 hours. We may alter objectives, we may have several objectives, but we may not sit still. I am drawn to your script, Mr. Paris, because we have similar dreams of what could be. I read your script and I feel hope. And in order to do my best work as an actor and as a human being, I must understand how we arrive at that future. And if neither of us has any ideas, let's find some people who might and ask them.
So, you do like the script?
I don't do courtesy calls. I move toward what I want.
Come on, Geneva. Toss me a scrap.
Fine. I like the script. I think it's smart and passionate and hopeful.
Thank you. Look, I get what you're saying. I really do. I want people to leave the theater confident that they can change the world, but in between all the concrete ideas about fixing everything wrong in the world, can we have a little fun? Heroes, romance, high-speed starship chasers?
Ah, yes. Page 73, correct? I did like that bit. I'm thinking Zendaya for that scrappy pilot from Neptune.
Ooh. You want to put in a good word for me with her agent?
Suppose that's doable. Now, I'm afraid I hear a clatter in the kitchen that sounds suspiciously like a macaron tin falling from the counter. Let's pick this up another time.
Of course. Go do what you got to do. I'll get in touch with Kendra about rescheduling.
No need. A fruit basket will be arriving at your office shortly. In the card, you'll find my personal number.
Wait, when did you... You know what? Never mind. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are moving towards something.
Me too. See ya.
Their cameras turn off. End of play.
And yes, indeed, we are moving towards something. How about that, you guys? Ah, wonderful show. Woo! Come on back, everyone. Amazing. Thank you, Tamar. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you, Ella. Thank you, Jack Sims. Wow, you guys. Yeah, it's always better the second time, I have to tell you. It was really wonderful. So well done. So well done. I love this. I really do. I love the play so much. I find it really wonderful, and it's great to be able to, I think it in so many ways, when we decided to create this concept of Star Changers for this intensive, part of it was a lot of what we talked about is what can we do to change our stars? I mean, I find that so fascinating. What can we do to make not only the world better, but our relationships better with each other? So I think that this play is again another wonderful example of how the prompt was really sort of taken in and taken to heart. So thank you all for that. In our last discussion, we were talking about, we got into the discussion about how we like science fiction and how we like, oh, the sirens.
No, it's you.
That was Jersey. I'm sorry. That was a Jersey siren.
Okay.
Jersey
We got
siren.
Queens, we got Jersey. Oh my goodness.
I thought we were hitting red alert there.
It was Star Trek.
So okay. This is this is just the fun question. You touched on it before, Ella, so I'm going to ask you last. I'm going to start with you, Tamar. Are you like a science fiction person?
I do like science fiction. I actually stay away from anything that has violence in it. I'm just way too sensitive. I've never been desensitized to it, so I don't find it entertaining. I find it it affects me too deeply. But really smart science fiction and fantasy, especially, I really like because I feel like it's important for me. It's important for me to go to the movies and escape what we're going through on a daily basis. And I want to leave that theater with some hope. So I really like it. I like comedies. I don't want to watch police dramas on television because I feel like we're living that every day already.
Mm-hmm. No, I find it great. I find it really fascinating. And I think, it's one thing to go backwards in time. Like, for example, if you happen to be fans of something like Outlander or something, because you're dealing with points in history, points that have already happened. And we can certainly fantasize about the past. But the thing that's kind of fun about science fiction is the fact that it always deals with something that is ahead of us. It's that looking ahead, the Luke Skywalker syndrome, always looking ahead to the horizon. I like that. And there's always hope in the future, right? So I think that's kind of a cool thing. What about you, Pamela? What is it that what turns you on to sci-fi? I know you're a huge Star Trek fan. We've always talked about that. You're one of the few people I can actually make obscure Star Trek references and you get it. So
yeah, well, one of the things that struck me with what Ella was saying at the first talk back that I really can relate to, and one of the reasons I love how sci-fi is dealt with in this play is I totally agree with the dystopian thing, and I agree with what Tamar just said about like I don't like I like a lot of sci-fi is the post-apocalyptic or all the planets are just dusty and rubble and so I love the idea. What I love about it is the imagination, like Jim says, the what if and that's one of the reasons I love Star Trek so much, and just the bold imagination and sort of the allegorical stuff, and taking what's going on today and giving it that smart reflective, looking at maybe what we can do, what we are doing, what is so some of them, I think are cautionary tales, and that is like I really like what Ella was saying is like, what if it's okay, we didn't screw everything up and we made good choices. And I don't know, it's like I it's to answer your question directly about why I love sci-fi. I'm not really sure. I'd have to think about what it is that I love the imagination and the putting a human being. I love history, reading histories too. So it's putting us all with all of our failings into these other settings and seeing how we negotiate those worlds. And then, of course, they can just be a whole heck of a lot of fun. So kind of like this play. So
yeah, I think it's great. Can I ask another question? And again, I'm just why do you
sure.
like why do you think, and maybe this might just be a silly question or an obvious question, but why do you think Geneva is interested in, like, what captures her about this play?
Oh no, I think that's a great question, and it kind of occurred to me as I worked on it. That's one of the things that, like, we talked. Geneva is such a wonderful character. It's such a fun role to play. The comedy and the diva, the grandeur. but as I was working on it, and as we were rehearsing it, I realized there's like with so many divas, they're onto something sometimes, and and she, I really related to the second half when she's trying to work with Jim to because I think she has such a stake in the possibility that this script that Jim wrote on Pluto, the possibilities that are there. And I, when I say it's smart and passionate and hopeful, I mean, I can't help but to think what's going on in this world right now. And it kind of makes me almost like I'm getting a little like emotional, because we need hope more than anything. And I do think that that's what Geneva and me as Geneva
Okay.
is so connected to. That's what, it sounds like Jim has a lot of good ideas with his movies and the worlds that he creates. And I mean, with the Ukraine and the global warming and just the way the pandemic was handled, and right from the get-go, when Jim is talking about why it's set on Pluto, I think, I think that, good God, we need hope. And please, let's make a roadmap to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think one of the issues, and I'm sorry, I know I've said this in past nights this week, but one of the issues that we have as human animals is that we tend to repeat our mistakes over and over and over again. We think we are going to get past it, but yet there's always something that keeps pulling us back. And I'm not quite sure what's that. I don't know if it's a fatal flaw in our reasoning, in our logic, or whatever the story is, but it seems like it's always been. And I hope that we can correct it and figure it out. I guess that's one of the reasons why, to me, I love the possibilities of a world where all of us get along, and all of us have moved past that and now are able to be much more happy and curious about it. But I see the hope in these characters. I want to talk to Jack, though, because I find clearly this is not your first, this is what you do, this is what you write. In the beginning, you get this idea of like, I have to ask her because we need to have some star in this, we have some name in this. How do you feel about this particular script that you're trying to pitch to Geneva? Is this just one of many, or is this something special? Like, I'm curious.
Well, I think a couple of things. Let me just say first, the arc. He said his first beat. We need her, and later on, as she has begun to, as he sees attacking her, says, I'm not desperate, and I don't need you. Because he felt his work a little under attack, but and he also says, I'm not a politician, I'm not an activist. He's a thinker. He's got a philosophy, and this is how he knows how to express it. He's not going to run for office like Ella. He's not going to run for president. But he has ideas. He has a point of view, and this is the way he expresses it. The points he chose to make about his other works makes it clear who he is. And I thought it was also very interesting that his position seems to have been tolerated or masked from people who do not have his political sensibilities until he said something as a person, until he was one of them Hollywood guys who stands up in front of a microphone who don't know nothing about nothing telling me something. But they'll go to his movie because they don't put one and one together. So I think that he's a thinker, a man with a point of view, but this is the way he's been given to express it.
I love that. I think you hit it. Yeah, you all connected on this one. Like, there was, to me, it was just very, very clear. This worked so beautifully, and it was a really wonderful and a really inspired collaboration on all of your parts. I just am,
Well, Tamar said something. She said science fiction and then said fantasy. I've been lectured more than once by learned people who tell me they're not the same thing. Science fiction and fantasy is not the same thing. But as a matter of fact, I love the genre. But I must say that my favorite science fiction film had too much violence in it, but it's still my favorite, and that's Avatar.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, of course it was, but again, even within the fact that it felt like it's actually, now that was a film that actually felt like a combination of sci-fi fantasy.
Well, I think they all are. I think good science fiction has to have some fantasy.
Well,
And the best fantasy is science fiction, unless you're a big Disney fan, I guess.
I agree with you. But where I feel that one kind of, I always see fantasy as oftentimes being like this mythical, it's mythical, like you have these creatures, almost like underworld or elfin type creatures that exist in fantasy. And this was a movie that was science fiction with this fantasy mixed in. I think that you can say the same a little bit about Star Trek or Star Wars, or take your pick of all of the sci-fi, Dune certainly, but yeah, where there's more science than the whole idea of space and everything. I find the idea of space quite wonderful, because in and of itself that is fantasy. Because I was watching this show the other day where they were talking to actual astronauts about what it really is like in space, and it's it's quite awful, isn't it? It's they said if you were to go out into space without a spacesuit, it's not that you wouldn't just stop breathing. You would freeze to death and burn to death at the same time. If you're facing the sun, there's no filter, so you are going to be getting hit with, on one side, blazing sun, which will just burn you to death, and then the other side is just below zero temperatures there, you will freeze to death. So you don't stand a chance.
Let's not do that.
Well, that's
Right.
Mercury. That's Mercury, and the twilight zone is a little bit around the edge, where it's not directly in the sun, but it's not directly in the shade. That is the twilight zone.
It is indeed. Yeah, of course, that's it. But science fiction just allows you to get into a spaceship and just shoot across them, light speed and all this other one. Hit a button and food pops out, and it's so cool.
Well, it in and of itself is hopeful, right? Even if it's dystopian science fiction, the idea that we can survive on anything but this planet, which I'm not so sure about, is in and of itself hopeful, right?
Well, look at they've been airing Quantum Leap, the old Quantum Leaps on television. And if you think about, if you look at it, Dean Stockwell's character of Al was holding something that he could punch in, and he could tell you everything that you ever needed to know about anything through the history of everything. And that was amazing. That was unthinkable. And now every single one of us is walking around carrying, exactly that.
Right.
And so it's all of the people that put together these types of art, of movies and television and novels and things. I feel like they have foresight that a lot of us don't have. And it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, Dick Tracy's watch.
Exactly. I totally had that.
I think that Jim Paris's science fiction is a lot like early Star Trek. I think the early Star Treks tried to do the same thing that Jim was trying to. There was a moral in there. There was a lesson to be learned. There was a human foible examined, and that I think that's what Jim is trying to do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that.
I agree. I love the fantasy. I love it all. But what I think it all comes down to, and I want your thought on this next statement, Ella, because I want to see how you feel. I think the true answer is the true answer and the true hope lies in us and in each of us as humans. We are the ones that can help change and create. You know, that you think that's impossible, but it's not. We are able to create things which are seemingly impossible, not just because of our intelligence, this great supercomputer we carry on our shoulders, but what we carry in something deeper, something that is I think that's sort of where we have to go.
I do think that the answer can, or some of the answers lie in us, but specifically us in community. Because I think that you have to have people like Jim who are this like beautiful font of imagination and dreaming and like thinking of all the things that could be. And you have to have people like Geneva who are like, boom, target, go. Like, here we go, directive, objective, get it done. And you have to have, you know, a lot of people who are doing some of those, or some of building that roadmap, or some like critique of the roadmap. You know, you have to have so many different voices in the room, who have different skills, different perspectives, in order to really like guide a sustainable way forward. And I think that that is one of the, as I was writing this, like one of the things I realized was like, oh, these are two people who think they're solving problems alone, or think they can solve problems alone, but we can't. There's a lot of talk about like the impact of individual choice. And I think that individual choice does have a great impact. And I think community choice and community action has an even greater impact.
Act works really well when you're making decisions for yourself, like what time do I get out of bed in the morning and what do I have for breakfast. But when it comes to, you know, yes, I mean, a few years ago we did a show for the UN, and one of our wonderful writers who wasn't able to join us for this intensive, but we love him to death, Jared Bogard, wrote a wonderful line in this, which I say all the time, which is, in the end, all we have is each other. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, we all are connected in ways that we can't even describe. It's sort of, it goes into a different level of understanding what that is. And we have to rely on each other to, you know, so it's not, you know, it's great to have, you are one component, but you are one of an infinite number of components. So, you know, it's hard when you live in a time when we're so disconnected and so polarized that you can't even agree on the fact that day is day and night is night. You know, like, how strange is that? The most basic of things are not agreed upon.
And to bring it back to like one of the reasons I love sci-fi so much is you see these perfect teams, right? Whether it's like the command team, or you've got like your trio of heroes, or whoever it is, they all have these skills and these attitudes that complement and contrast each other, and they're arguing about the best way to do things and like trying to figure out that plan together. And I always felt and feel so enamored with that, with you know, as many narratives as we have of like the great hero, or like the one person who's going to solve everything, nobody ever actually does anything alone. Even in our fantasies, our sci-fis, all of it, it's all very team based, and I find myself hungry for that.
Yeah. Well, getting back to the original point of this whole intensive and this exercise is the ability to gather together as groups and collaborate together to create a piece of work, a piece of art. And all of you had a very successful collaboration in this, because you can see how well you all synced up. and I'm so grateful, because it's so much fun to see when that happens. And because it's random, the randomness of pairing people together and seeing how it connects is a great gift and a great lesson. So thank you guys for doing this. It's not just your professionalism, it's something deeper. There's something more. So I can't really speak to that anymore, other than sometimes it's not what you know, it's what you feel. And if someone says, how do you know that? It's like, because I know it. How do you explain it? I can't explain it. I just know it. And that's how it is.
Yeah, it was really a gem. Thank you guys so much. It was Tamar was so like spot on. She's just got laser focus. Ella,
Yeah.
You said it all with your play, and Jim, Jack. Now you got me doing it all. You can call me Geneva. So good to just like both times doing it. I was like, just having a conversation with you, like while we were doing it, which is Geneva and Jim, just like, I don't know, it really felt cool. I mean, to have that connection over Zoom.
Yep.
Yeah, it was nice. I really liked your when you started telling me about something you knew a lot about acting. I thought that was I assume many of our audience is engaged in the profession, and I thought that was a very interesting little insightful piece for you just to tuck tuck in your pocket if you're interested in this business. What she had to say about that.
Yeah, well, that's something I just want to shout out to Ella. Like, I love the fact that what you were just talking about with, moving forward collectively, and with teams. And I love the fact that it's a filmmaker and an actor who, are going to like lead the troops as they realize that they can come together and do this. And I just love that, because and then let's find some people who might have ideas, as Geneva says, and ask them. And I think actors can change the world.
Actors do change the world. Absolutely.
We can. Artists change the world. We have you want to talk fantasy and magical powers? We have a magical power. We can transform people with what that's the whole point of this. I don't want to appeal to your intellect. We want to appeal to what we want to reach you in a different way, so that you can absorb it in a different way, and so that it'll stick.
You sort of glossed over a little bit what a unique thing this whole concept is. You bring some people into a room, you get directors, you get writers, you get actors, you throw all the names in the hat, and you come up with pieces of art, collaborations with it's in such a unique kind of collaboration. This whole process is. I don't know if it's if there's anything else like it around very much.
Well,
I would like to say, actually, on that note, that's one of the reasons that I like the VPI so much, is because it's one of the only times during the pandemic that when we saw plays being presented on Zoom, that they were written specifically for Zoom. And not even that, but written for the actors who are going to be playing them. So, we saw so many things over the course of these 2 years where it didn't really translate the way that you would like. And this is for this, which also makes it a very unique writing experience and directing experience, because it's a hybrid, and it is very unique. And I think it works a lot better than a lot of the things that I saw out there.
Well, I will say to you this: none of this would work if it was not for the group, for the energy of each and every one of you that you all bring to the table. And most importantly, the spirit of wanting to create together and to play together and to come in with the best of intentions, and not making it all about yourself and what's in it for me, what's not in it for me. That to me is what makes this great. And so as long as we can continue on that level, we're doing something right, and we are making little by little, person by person, changing the world, a little bit at a time. So thank you for that. Thank you for all of that. And
Hopefully we
that's
made
us.
people
That's
hopeful and
That's
happy.
not any one. It is the whole. It is the collective. So thank you for that. Tucker, before we wind up, do you Tucker was texting me throughout this, by the way. He loves this play, and he was saying, he said the second show looks great. He always gives me a feedback because he's watching the feed. We're on Zoom, but he's watching it on Facebook and YouTube to make sure it's going through. And he said, we're getting a good streak of great shows. Who knew we did this for only 2 years? How about that? How about that, Tucker, right?
Thank you so much for everything, Tucker. Your work is so invaluable. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah. Tucker. Yay.
You're the best, Tucker. You are the best. I mean, you are the one that pulls this together. You are promoting the shows on social media. You do so much. He makes all the posters that we promote on. So whenever you see like the appearing tonight, that's all Tucker. He puts all those together. He does everything. So I'm just love Tucker. You're the best. So thank you, and thank you guys for such a great Friday night show. You made this a great night. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you, everybody.
Thank
you
you.
guys for watching. Thanks for tuning in.
It was the gas. Love you all.
Yeah, please continue to watch, my friends. Tune in. We're on 7:30 every evening on YouTube, 8:30 right here on Facebook. Tell your family, tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops, tweet about it, scream it out the window, as long as you can let everyone know. And if you really like us, go to our website, go to tvtv.org. You can learn about who we are, how, where we've been. You'll get to see a lot of archival photos, a lot of pictures of Pamela. There's a couple of pictures of me back when I used to act more. I miss the acting. I really do. It's hard to sometimes sit and watch because it's what yeah. So, and if you really like us, click the donate button at the top of the page of our website. And that way you can support us financially, which is always a great gift. Although I will say your time and attention are the best. But that's a good close second. So tomorrow night, we are going to continue this weekend of joy with a wonderful play by Kate Allen. I love Kate. I think that that she creates really such a smart writer, very much like our wonderful playwright Ella tonight. So tomorrow night's play is called Aftermath at a Dinner Party, and it was written by the incredible Kate Allen, directed by Shellen Lubin. You got an opportunity to see Shellen's writing chops the other night. On last Saturday, she did a play called Preamble. Again, another beautiful, deep play. But now you're going to get to see her direct. And we have a wonderful cast: Sarah Bitar, Habatulan, Nick Walter. 7:30 YouTube, 8:30 right here on Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, please tune in. And thank you for joining us. Thank you all again. Have a wonderful evening and a great weekend, a great Saturday. Have a good night all. Bye-bye.
Bye. Did he cut it? Are we done? Did it go?
We're done.
Hey, there's my
Okay.
team. Thanks, you guys. That was so good, and it was so much fun, and it was even better the second time. And I was like, oh, there was more things that I want to go back and work on, and so